Ang medyo mahirap sa buhay ng middle class dito sa Canada at sa US, kasi hindi ka naman lugmok, pero hindi ka rin kampante. Hindi ka nagugutom, pero kung minsan hindi rin maluwag. Kasi nakakabayad ka ng bills, nakakapagtrabaho ka, nakakapag-celebrate ka paminsan-minsan, birthdays, anniversaries. Pero sa loob mo parang laging may pressure na hindi nawawala. Kasi gusto mong mabuhay ngayon, gusto mong i-enjoy yung buhay ngayon, gusto mong bigyan ng magandang memories yung family mo. Pero kasabay noon, may inaalala ka rin na paano na ang future, ang retirement. Paano na kung may emergency, paano na kung may mangyari sa trabaho. At iyan yung totoong buhay ng maraming middle class families dito sa Canada at sa US. So hindi ito usapan ng pangmayaman lang at hindi rin usapan ng para sa mahirap lamang. Ito yung buhay na mukha kang okay sa labas pero sa loob, inaayos mo ang araw-araw kung paano mo babalansehin ang buhay ngayon at ang future mo bukas. And in this video, pag-usapan natin yan. Here are the 4 factors that you need to consider when it comes to the balanced middle class life, like living in the present but not neglecting the future. Factor number 1, the present is real. Ito yung factor na present is real. Minsan kasi parang ang advice ng mundo sa atin is mag-save, mag-invest, think of your future, think of later things. And rightfully so, totoo naman, tama naman yun. Pero huwag nating lokohin yung sarili natin because life moves on. Yung mga anak natin, hindi sila magiging bata forever. Ang lakas mo, katawan mo, hindi habang buhay yan. And then, ang parents natin, hindi rin laging nandyan. Tapos yung panahon dumadaan, lumilipas. Kaya natural lang na gusto mong i-enjoy yung present moments. Gusto mong mag-outing paminsan-minsan. Gusto mong kumain sa labas. Gusto mong magbakasyon kahit simple lang. Gusto mong bumili ng mga bagay-bagay na nagpapagaan sa buhay. And nothing is wrong with that. Walang masama doon. Because not every spending is a bad decision. Some spending is part of living. Some spending is part of family. Some spending is part of mental relief. Some spending is part of making life feel human. Kasi syempre kung puro trabaho ka naman, puro bayad, puro ipon, puro future, tapos wala ka namang nararamdamang sigla or nangyayari sa buhay mo at the present moment, parang may kulang din, di ba? So middle class life is not just about surviving bills every now and then, but also it is about trying to live while you still can. So the first truth is this, the present matters too. Hindi ka selfish kung gusto mong maramdaman yung buhay, mag-enjoy. Hindi ka irresponsible agad kung gusto mong i-treat yung sarili mo paminsan-minsan. Ang tanong lang, hanggang saan and at what cost? Factor number 2, the future will definitely come. The second factor pag-usapan natin, yung the future will come. Ito naman yung kabilang katotohanan. Habang ini-enjoy mo ang buhay mo ngayon, dumarating pa rin ang bukas. Darating pa rin ang retirement, ang pagtanda. Darating ang mga panahon na hindi ka na ganoon kalakas kagaya ng dati. O hindi ka na ganoon kadali kumita, rumakit, mag-hustle, humataw. At para sa maraming middle class workers dito sa Canada at sa US, iyan yung tahimik na pressure na habang tumatanda ka, mas nagiging totoo yung future. Hindi na siya abstract, hindi na siya bahala na later, hindi na siya malabong idea. It becomes personal. It becomes personal. So magkano ang ipon mo? May emergency fund ka na ba? May pension ka ba na inaasahan? CPP, OAS, Social Security, 401k, TFSA, RRSP. So enough na ba yan kung humina ang income mo? At dito pumapasok din yung malaking problema ng middle class. Kaya mong i-maintain ang present, pero hindi ibig sabihin na handa ka na sa future. You can look stable today and still be vulnerable tomorrow. At ang delikado, kasi maraming tao, okay ang tingin nila sa sarili nila, basta okay ang cash flow ngayon. Pero ang tunay na tanong is, what happens when the cash flow changes? What happens if work slows down? What happens if your body slows down? What happens if life becomes more expensive and your income does not keep up? So that is why the future cannot be ignored. Because whether we prepare or not, the future still arrives. At kapag dumating iyon, doon mo mararamdaman kung inalagaan mo ba siya or pinabayaan mo lang. And then factor number 3, balance is not automatic. Ito naman pangatlong factor na pag-uusapan natin, yung balance. Hindi siya automatic. Hindi porket middle class ka, automatic na balance ka na. Hindi porket mabait kang tao, automatic wise ka na sa pera. Hindi porket hardworking ka, automatic secure ang future mo. So balance takes intention. Kasi ang default ng buhay ngayon, hindi balance. The default is pressure, spending, comparison, lifestyle creep. The default is deserve ko to. Minsan lang naman. Okay pa naman. Kaya pa naman. At unti-unti, kung hindi ka alerto, pwedeng lumihis yung balance. Hindi mo namamalayan, kinakain na ng present mo yung para sa future mo. At minsan naman, baliktad. Hindi mo rin namamalayan na sobrang higpit mo na, sobrang delayed mo na sa buhay. Kaya nawawala na ang iyong joy at excitement. At iyon din hindi healthy because real balance is not one big dramatic decision. Sometimes it is small decisions made again and again. It is saying yes to some things. It is saying no to other things. It is choosing memories without choosing disaster. It is choosing discipline without choosing misery. It is learning na hindi lahat ng afford mo ngayon good for you later. It is learning to na hindi rin lahat ng gusto mong i-postpone dapat laging i-postpone. So balance is not natural. It is built. At maraming middle class families dito sa Canada at sa US, iyan yung ginagawa araw-araw. Medyo tahimik lang, walang applause, walang flex, pero iyon ang tunay na laban. And then we go to factor number 4, yung tinatawag na good life needs both. So yung pang-apat, a good life needs both. It needs joy now and protection later. It needs presence and preparation. It needs memories and maturity. So ito siguro yung pinaka-honest na realization. Hindi mo kailangang piliin ang buhay ngayon or ang future mo bukas. Ang kailangan mo, matutong alagaan pareho. Because the goal is not to spend everything now And the goal is not also to delay all happiness forever. The goal is to build a life na kaya mong lingunin someday at masasabi mo na nabuhay ako, I enjoy life, pero hindi ko pinabayaan ang future ko. And that is the good life. Hindi man siya perfect, hindi man siya flashy, hindi social media presence, but real, very real. At sa totoo lang, iyan ang buhay ng maraming pamilya dito sa Canada at sa US. Working, paying bills, trying to enjoy, trying to prepare, trying to stay okay, trying not to fall behind. And that deserves respect. Because middle class life, especially here in Canada and in the US, is not easy. Because everything is expensive, everything is pulling at your budget, everything is asking for your money, your energy, your attention. So if you're still trying to live wisely now, while protecting tomorrow, then that is already something honorable. That is already something strong and worth living. So here is my final thought. So when we talk about the balanced life, balanced middle class life, this is what it really means. It means you respect the present, but you do not ignore the future. You enjoy what you can, but you still prepare. You love your family today, but you also love the version of yourself that will grow old someday. Because one day, you will become that future self. And when that day comes, you will either thank yourself or question yourself. That is why balance matters. Not because life has to be perfect, but because life is real. And the real life needs wisdom, not extremes. So the balanced middle class life here in Canada and in the US is not about looking rich. It is not about depriving yourself either. It is about learning how to live today without taking from tomorrow. And maybe that is the real win. Not a perfect life, not a luxurious life, but life where you can honestly say, hindi man sobra, pero nabuhay ako ngayon at hindi ko rin pinabayaan ang bukas. And for many of us, that is the most meaningful choice of a balanced middle-class life in Canada and in the US.